Hey everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. Where am I? Kennedy Space Center. In fact, that's a Saturn V rocket back there. It's so huge, so awesome. We have got a really cool day ahead of us. If you want to see more about it, check out my wife's channel, Rain's Place. Link in the description below. But you're not going to want to miss today's show here on Record-ology as well, so stay tuned for that. Welcome to Record-ology! So I have seen this brand GPO around online for a couple of years. Designed in the UK, obviously made in China, tech, similar to what we see under other brand names like Crosley and Victrola. But this was a bit different. Wanted to check it out and see if it is a good entry-level suitcase player. So I did pay $89.98 for this at East West Records on Record Store Day. This is one of the extra things I picked up for us to check out. And as you can see, it says designed in the UK. It includes a free USB stick. I guess I can flip this around so it's facing the right side. But yeah, I mean, it looks like a typical suitcase player. This one sends and receives Bluetooth, which is a good thing. And apparently you can digitize your vinyl as well. So let's go ahead and open it up. Now, of course, it never fails that somebody will say, well, I'll keep my 1200, thanks. This isn't supposed to replace your 1200. Come on, people. It's just a little record player. It's not like a turntable system that's designed to replace everything else. Okay, this is in here pretty tight. Okay, we've got our user guide, the cable, and the USB stick already came out. It is packed in, oh, there's a power supply. It's packed in styrofoam blocks on the ends. Oh, that's weird. Look at that. It's like fused. Oh, I see. It's got a texture underneath and it was just kind of stuck to that. That's really weird how that looks, but it's like, it's almost like melted styrofoam on the plastic. Hopefully it didn't mess up the product directly. No, it looks fine. It's almost like a snake skin kind of leather with a green vinyl wrap. Interesting. All right. And I love the form factor of these. I mean, they're so nice and tiny. Although they never have feet back here, so you can't really, you know, set it down without it kind of wobbling on the hinge. It's like, just put some feet back there. I mean, you could do it yourself, but otherwise it's a nice little briefcase. And I like that. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so we've got our speakers on the sides. Kind of this brass finished hardware here. Good handle. I mean, it is, just by appearances, probably made in one of the, you know, 4 or 5 factories in China that make these things. Although I've never seen one with this trim piece on the side, so that's kind of interesting. I am familiar with that hinge. I've seen that before. DC power supply in, that'll be a 5 volt. We got the aux output and an aux in. They do put rubber feet on the bottom. Yep, those are actual rubber, not plastic, so that's good. And this is, you know, priced a bit higher for a suitcase player compared to, usually you see these days for like 39 bucks, 49 bucks. But I wanted to check this one out. Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen one. I don't think I've ever seen a suitcase with a hinge like that. Maybe I have. I don't think so. Certainly not on the right-hand side. Inside of the lid has like a soft felt lining with the GPO branding. And then down here, just a piece of plastic protects that. A little piece of paper on the platter. Like a easy guide kind of deal. And then a very thin platter mat. And like I always tell people, you don't really need a platter mat with these types of platters. It's just 3 rubber points of contact. Having this on there may look like it's an upgrade, but it's functionally not going to do anything. This is a belt drive turntable. The motor is going to be over here. The belt's under the platter, and we've shown those a number of times. 45 adapter that comes with it. Obviously, you can upgrade, which would be recommended.
Have you ordered your official Record-ology 45 adapter yet? Check out the link in the video description below.
and that can just rest back there as well. So this mechanism will be the common Skywin type of mechanism. The question is, has it been properly impedance matched, and is it calibrated to track right around 5-6 grams, which is what this cartridge is designed for. Okay, so here's where the uniqueness has really come into play. They've spec'd out kind of this antique looking metal for the tone arm that matches the overall design aesthetic. I think that's cool. Let's take a look at the gimbal. Typical for these types. I mean, it's got a bit of play, but for this type of record player, it just doesn't, it's adequate. You know, it's going to do the job. Notable that this is not on any sort of shock, so there's minimal sound isolation. But again, I don't think you need it on this. I really don't. For this level of product, sound isolation, anti-skate, things like that just aren't a requirement. Oh wow, look at that. The lift shelf lifted up the entire back end. That's weird. Look how this whole thing kind of comes up when I cue this up. Watch this. That's interesting. I mean, it does the job, right? It does the job. Okay, so we've got a ceramic cartridge with a metal cantilever, a bridge, the shank, and at the bottom there we have the sapphire tip stylus. So this, as far as ceramics go, this should be a good one. And you can obviously upgrade the stylus to diamond if you so choose. Okay, for controls, we have the auto stop on and off, 3 speeds. And this is interesting. So for this unit, they've spec'd out transport controls here for probably the MP3 playback capability on USB. This feels like, I think that's a metal knob. Ooh, it's got nice drag to it. And then over here, we've got an indicator light for various items like phonograph, battery. Battery? This thing isn't even plugged. It just occurred to me this thing isn't plugged in yet. So you can literally recharge this unit. That's a first. That is a first. Okay, I've never seen a Suitcase player. Here it is. I'm going to prove it to you guys. Let's go ahead and turn it on there. It's spinning. And it's not plugged into anything. As you can see, it is completely wireless. That's cool. And that's something that people have asked for is, you know, can you charge it and take it with you? And the answer has always been no. Suitcase players traditionally never have a built-in battery, but this one does. That's really, really interesting. That makes me want to crack open the user manual and check out the specs. So this is the SW196F Ambassador. I guess this is as close to specification. Ceramic stereo cartridge, a jewel stylus. Yeah. Okay. I mean, we'll figure it out, right? But very, very interesting. The battery still blows me away. I was not expecting that. Okay, my friends, strobe warning. Here we go. Looking right here for 33 RPM. And let's see if it's accurate or not. And as you can see, the lines are marching a bit to the left, which means it's fast, but not terribly so. Let me go ahead and flip it now to 45 RPM right here. It's pretty fast. That is pretty fast. And then 78, also fast. And there's no pitch control. That would have been a really, really good feature, which means in order to fix the speed issues, we would need to open it up. Don't do that, it would void your warranty, or realize that if you do that, it's dangerous and could void your warranty, and make a speed adjustment. So just keep that in mind. And it's a hit or miss thing with these. I mean, the next one off the production line could have been slow. The one after that could have been fast. And obviously that's not great. They should be perfect right out of the factory, right? Okay, next thing we're gonna do is use my digital scale, and we are going to measure the tracking force. Okay, this should ideally be 5 grams for this cartridge, but anywhere between 5 and 6 will be acceptable. And it's just under 5, so I'm going to call that okay. Make sure that the lift shelf back here is pushed down out of the way. See how that added a little weight to it, so it was hanging up a little bit. And that's typical with these. Still in the 4 gram range, which is okay. I wouldn't want to track any lighter than about 4.5 with this cartridge. that would not be good. Also, I did notice that you really have to kind of force this back, and it feels like, you know, you're pushing it too far back to get it to stay up. Otherwise, when you just lift it to where you would expect it to be, it just sinks back down on its own. The descent is gentle enough, by the way, but it really has to go pretty far back, and it feels like you're forcing it. So also not awesome. Okay, on the front-facing stereo mics now, the motor noise is loud. Check this out. What is that? That's 78. Okay, that's pretty typical. Let me go down to 33. It's still there, but it's acceptable. But usually the 78 is audible. Of course, once you got a record on there, you probably won't notice it. Okay, let's go ahead and give it a sound test. Interesting. By the way, sorry for the road noise. Some idiots hot rodding down the street. So I've actually been listening to this compared with other Suitcase players this afternoon, and I think it is properly impedance matched. I think that they did do that right. I've just been listening to a lot of higher end turntables. Just kind of had to adjust my ear back down to a ceramic cartridge because you literally adjust to whatever you're listening to. So comparing it, at first I thought maybe it might not be impedance matched properly, but I compared it to a couple of others, including this LPN number 1, which as you can see is a different design. The speakers are in a different place and things like, they're not all the same. They don't all come from the same place. There are different models, different variants, etc., etc. Some are better than others, notably different than others. But this one seems to be on par with like a Victrola Suitcase player or a Crosley Cruiser. And speaking of speakers, I want to point out that the speakers are on the side of this unit. I don't like it when record players do that. You would think that would give you great stereo separation, but it kind of creates a dead zone if you're standing in front of it. It's not good. And you kind of lose the stereo effect, as weird as that may sound. It's good for just like filling a room if you're just like having it ambiently play. But if you want to get some stereo, it doesn't really do that. But then again, having two speakers right here are so close together that you're not going to get stereo that way either. Again, this is entry level. This is beginner, or this is like an extra record player in the office, the den, etc., maybe the garage. So with that being said, let's look at some of the additional functionality of this, including the ability to play back and possibly record to MP3. Okay, we're going to experience this together. So I'm going to take the thumb drive that came with it. I'm not sure of the capacity here. It's probably like an 8 gig one. And I'm going to put it in backwards first, like I always do. And let's go ahead and turn the turntable on. Again, this has to go up really high back there. And does it know automatically that there is a thumb drive in there? Because it didn't light up there. So I wonder if I need to press the M button, perhaps a mode select. Yep, okay, so now we're in the USB MP3 mode. And I'm going to press record and see if that does anything. I don't see anything happening, so I'm going to press and hold record. Okay, now I'm going to read the manual like I probably should have done to begin with. Okay, so I get points for being close. Let's go back to vinyl mode. That's actually kind of common sense. You should probably be in vinyl mode or record mode when you are, playing the record. So all I have to do is I'm going to drop the needle and I'm going to turn the volume down so you can hear me. And then I'm going to press the record button once and something is supposed to start blinking. Okay, so this is blinking, and apparently what you can do is if you press it once, it creates one long file of the entire record side. But if you want it to split tracks, you can actually double click this. So that's really, really neat. That is something that I'll want to experiment with in the future. So let's go ahead and record this and see what we get on the other end. Okay, so I plugged the thumb drive into my computer after I was done making the recording. I recorded about 60 seconds of audio. It is 128K MP3, and it is 2 channels, a verified stereo, all that good stuff. It sounded like 128K MP3, which I actually use, you know, quite frequently. 128K encoding for a lot of things like movie audio, because you can fit a lot of stuff in a small space. It's a highly compressed, lossy codec. So let's go ahead and try to play the audio back just to, you know, heighten the effect. I'm taking the record away, turning this on, flipping the mode switch to USB mode. And there it goes. It plays automatically. Now let's test the Bluetooth out functionality. So we got our handy dandy Bluetooth speaker here. Make sure it's in pairing mode. Okay, it's flashing fast, which usually means Bluetooth pairing mode. Make sure the volume's up all the way. And now you can stream Bluetooth out in vinyl mode, in auxiliary in mode, or in USB mode. So that means you can stream from any one of those 3 sources to an external speaker or an external, or like headphones, anything like that as well. So pick the mode that you want to be in. For us, it's going to be vinyl because I want to test out the record. And what we're going to do, oops, don't turn it off. What we're going to do is press and hold the mode switch for 3 seconds while we are in that mode. And it is going to supposedly pair. So let's see if that happens. Both of them are in pairing mode now, so it should take a few seconds, and then we should hear a chime or something. In fact, I'm going to raise the stylus while we're waiting for that chime. Okay, there we go, the magical sound. So now the audio won't be coming out of these speakers, it'll be coming out of my Bluetooth device. And it's working. Cool. So we've demonstrated it can do that. So far, this is a pretty handy dandy unit. Now, if you can get it for a better price than I did, I think that this is a thumbs up. So I'm not sure as of the filming of this if it's available on Amazon. If it is, I'll put a link down below. I don't really see any issues. It is a suitcase player. It's an entry-level suitcase player. But at the same time, it's got some cool features with the ability to record, the ability to stream Bluetooth out, the ability to play and record MP3s. It's got a line output, aux out, which, you know, even a line output is something that the last turntable we reviewed didn't have. So I think this is cool. 3 speeds, obviously you could play 78s with that. If you do play 78s, it'll sound better if you upgrade the stylus. But besides that, this is an all-in-one solution. If you want to play records and you don't want to mess around with a bunch of other audio equipment or expense, and you don't mind sacrificing a little bit of sound quality, this is a good option for you. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Hope you guys enjoyed this video first and foremost. All right, my friends, and that is going to do it for today. That is the Space Shuttle Atlantis behind me. This place is incredible. The whole experience has just been unbelievable. So I hope you enjoyed this show, but happy record hunting. That's going to do it for today. We'll see you next time.